Hello and welcome to episode 2 or week 2 of the Digital Entertainment and Networking Club, also known as the Dean Club. FBI, open up! Hello and welcome to episode 2 or week 2 of the Digital Entertainment and Networking Club, also known as the Dean Club for short. So in this club's episode, we'll be teaching you how to use the clone stamp tool, which is a really effective tool when you're, well, I use it quite a lot for mucking around on Photoshop, but it has practical uses as well. Main ones that would come to mind would be removing clouds from a sky to give a clear sky, but it's really useful for like smooth blends or removing features or covering over things. So basically I'll go through a little mini tutorial on how to use it in Photoshop, and then I'll go over another tutorial in Pixlr because it works slightly different in Pixlr, which is what you'll be able to use in the school. So I'll first do the tutorial on Photoshop. So we will look over at the tool here. If you look over at the tool, it is a stamp tool. So we have clone stamp and pattern stamp. Just use clone stamp for now. So as you can see, we get a cursor. I'll scroll down to our image, which is an image of our wonderful Dean. Okay, and here we are. So I will move on to the clone stamp tool, and as you can see, you get a cursor that you can change in size. You change it in size a bit differently in Pixlr, but I think we'll just go for the standard 30 pixels, which is not too big, not too small. So as you see, if you try and click normally, it'll just say, could not use the clone stamp tool because the area to clone has not been defined. Alt click to define the source point. So if I hold Alt, you can see the cursor changes, and that allows us to click a source point. So if you look at let me zoom in here actually. If you look at these two tones in shadow in the background here, you can use these as a source point. Let's say you wanted to extend the line of this shadow. What you would do is Alt click on that, and then clone stamp over the edge, and then go back down. I went a little bit too far up here. And there, as you can see, I'm slowly extending the shadow. You just alt click because it pulls pixels from the area, similar pixels or from the area where you alt clicked, and moves them to where you actually click. So if I put my sample as there, it's pulling pixels from here and putting them here. So you want to take ones that are close, but not too close, because you don't want it to pull like a sharp line or something. As you can see, you can work your way along with that. So that obviously was like not a very good blend, but it's a basic example of what you can do. You can see how I've extended the shadow here. If I was going to extend it properly, I would probably pull it up and blend it. But just for simplicity's sake, you can use it for things like that. Other things you can use it for is in combination with your select tool. So what I like to do is, if I was going to see how Dean's mouth is shut here, I can just use my polygonal lasso to make a quick selection around the lower jaw. And now I've made a selection around the lower jaw. As you can know, I can make a free transformation, move the jaw, resize it a little bit, change the rotation, and slap it right there. And as you can see, that doesn't look very smooth, but if I move over to the clone stamp tool, what I can do is alt click, take some pixels from here, take them a little bit lower down, and just begin to slowly fill that in with surrounding pixels. And that's the basic use of what the clone stamp can do. But the main use of the clone stamp is in combination with other tools. It's very effective way of achieving certain effects. There are certain effects that are the easiest way to achieve the effect is with use of the clone stamp tool. As I say, effects like these, where you've got a full blank area, you just want similar pixels, and you don't have the effort to manually draw in every single pixel. You can just do that, and then what you could do is take a a source JPEG, remove the background layer, and put something behind there if you wanted to like give him some teeth. You can do things like that. So basically I'm going to cut over to using a landscape, and I'm going to use the clone stamp tool and a few other select tools to blend the landscape and make it look very nice. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, and I'm back. So as you can see here, I've got a nice landscape photo of just a man standing here. It's a very high quality image. So you could say, yeah, this is a pretty good image, but it would be a lot nicer if there was less clouds. So, you know, the clouds, some people think they add to the photo. You can add clouds in post, you can take clouds out in post, and I'm just going to show you. So like some of these wispy ones, maybe we want to keep the bigger ones with the sharper edges, but some of these wispy ones, maybe we just want to take those away. So you can do that with use of the clone stamp tool. So all you have to do, as I say, is alt click and slowly draw over them, and it'll carry pixels from right behind it to cover it up. And let's say we want to get rid of this one too, since it's a gradient, you want to take it from the side. And just slowly eat into it. I'll speed this up. And there we are. So now I would just go around, take the blur tool, drop a few little lines and dots here, and then when you zoom out, those clouds are gone. And as you can see, there's a blend here which needs to be done properly, and how you can finish that off is you can actually do it with your clone stamp tool, which is quite time consuming, or what I would generally, in fact no, we'll do it. This is about the clone stamp tool, so I'll teach you how to do it with your clone stamp tool. So as you can see, it gradiates some lighter pixels here and it moves up to a darker color. So with the use of the clone stamp tool, you can take some of the lighter pixels and move them up, and as you can see, that starts to blend it. It starts to blend it up there, like real nice right there. You just got to be patient, it takes time. Nobody's gonna get it first try. Except me, obviously, because I'm amazing at this. Just kidding. It took me a very long time to learn how to use Photoshop. And it kind of looks like I've added another cloud in the background there. Means more blending is required. Oh, and again, don't forget, Control Z is undo. You want to grab pixels from close as you can. Sorry about that, that's my phone. You want to grab pixels from as close as you can and just blend them over. And if you really want to just spend way less time, what you can do is you can take the blur tool, just kind of move over the image there, and yeah, there you go, you've removed the clouds from this area. And you can do other things such as blend the dirt, but I find, you know, when you're working with a big scale image, you really want to work down at the pixel level by hand, and clone stamp is not a very accurate tool. It's good at getting things done fast, and it does a good job at what its true purpose is for, but here's just like a little example of something you would be able to use it for. Obviously this image still requires a lot more work to be completely finished, and that could take more time, but just as an example of what you can do with clone stamp, I think that works quite well. So we'll move on to the final project, which will be doing clone stamping in Pixlr. And what I will do is I'll move over to Pixlr and I will use the clone stamp tool to create an image. I'll use it to create an image. All right, see you guys there. So here I am in Pixlr, and what we'll be doing is I'll be using the Pixlr editor, which is available in the school. You can use it in school computers. I'll be using the Pixlr editor to I'll use the clone stamp of Pixlr editor, which is which is very similar to the one in Photoshop. It works in the same way, but it's just slightly different how you get your anchor points and things like that. So let me just open up an image here. Okay, and here we are. I've opened up this image of Dean here, and we can be using the clone stamp tool, which is, again, S, same as Photoshop. But instead of alt-clicking, as you can see, if you alt-click, it doesn't work. So you control-click this time. But you have to do larger and smaller brushes. So the brush selection is slightly different. But apart from that, it's just control-click for your anchor point, and you go from there. So let's use the clone stamp tool to remove Dean's eyebrows. Okay, now that we've removed the eyebrows, you can do other things with clone stamps, such as removing blemishes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove everything that I don't see fit. So let's get started. I'll speed this up. Okay, so now that we have created what I would call a blank, which is where we have removed all the facial features of a person, I can then take an import and slowly work on building up this image in Pixlr. I'll continue. So I'll cut back to when I have my sample. See you then. Okay, so I have returned here, and I've removed what I saw unfit, and I've replaced with some Johnny Sins. So what I'm going to do is, oh man, did not realize this is how that blur tool worked. Maybe we're better off not using it. But this one tool is, oh god. Okay, so I'm back, and I've changed the image up to look a bit more perfect. So I think that would be a good tutorial. I think you've learned how to use the clone stamp tool. So what you should be able to do now is jump onto Pixlr and try it out, see what you can do, mix and match some images, use the select tool that you learned how to use in the previous week, and use your skills and see what you can do. Alright, so I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.